friends, you will probably have seen this outfit because this is the outfit I was wearing when I ended the last reading vlog. But today I'm going to update you with something that I got in the mail as well as the book that I just started today. So first, I have this really cool box from Wraithmark Creative. It has such beautiful art on it. I wish I could show you all the sides, but I can only show you the ones that do not have our address on it. So stunning. And I'm pretty sure I know what this is. It's very exciting because I feel like I've been waiting for it for a while, and having read the series, oh my gosh, that's so cute. It says Loot Fit for Dragons, which, let's be real, there is a patch, a window patch, and then there's a sticker that says Wraithmark Creative. And the book came wrapped like this. Ah, it is what I think it is. Okay, so I read this book earlier this year and really enjoyed it. I'm so happy to finally have a copy for my shelves, and oh my gosh, she's stunning. This is the Wraithmark Creative edition of The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang, and it is beautiful. Look at that stunning art. Look at how shiny I can't even tell you. And then the back says, wholeness she had learned was not the absence of pain, but the ability to hold it. Such a beautiful quote. And this end paper art is stunning. I mean, I already knew most of these features would be in the book, obviously, because I backed the Kickstarter, but like, look at that map. My goodness, this edition is beautiful, so beautiful. And then the actual hardcover itself also has some foiling on it. What a stunning edition. I am obsessed, holy moly. I feel like I'm holding a treasure. It's beautiful. It also has a ribbon bookmark. I didn't realize this until just now, but yeah, this is so stunning. My gosh, one of my favorite books that I've gotten this year, that's for sure. And I can't wait to get more books from Wraithmark. But now to what I'm reading. So this afternoon, because I, was in a mood, I was like, let me figure out what I want to read next. And on ebook from the library, I have a couple of options, and I decided to go with one of them. And that book is Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare, which I also physically own, as you can see, but like, it's massive. Okay, I don't want to be carrying around this hardcover. It'll be too much work to do that. I'm excited to finally be revisiting the Shadowhunter universe again. I have no expectations. I hate to say low expectations, so I'm going to say no expectations going into this one, just because I feel like it's gotten such a mixed response, which is leaning more towards like the middling or not so great for the series as an ender, which is sad to me because I was kind of hoping that Chain of Thorns, which is the last book in the Last Hour series, was going to cement it as my favorite trilogy of hers. I don't think it will. I've been enjoying my time with it though, and it is reading really quick. It's like a historical fiction soap opera, which I'm not mad about, with Shadowhunters, which I'm not mad about, obviously. And I do like being reunited with these characters, even though half the time in my brain I'm like shaking my head at their antics and miscommunication and feelings, even though I'm also trying to understand where they're coming from. But yeah, I will report back once I read this. Again, this is the last book in the Last Hours trilogy. It basically follows James Herondale, his sister Lucy Herondale, and their friends, and the shenanigans that I've been building since book one of the series. That's basically all that is. I will let you know. So far, like I said, enjoying it, really fun. I am not reading too much into it, I guess is what I want to say. So I guess that's why I'm having a good time. So it thunderstormed here for a little bit. Look, a rainbow. Good morning, it's September 12th. I wish I had the books to show you, but I don't. So anyway, I just wanted to quickly say that I am nearly done with Chain of Thorns. I have like 25% left, and I have a lot of thoughts, and I will save that for when I'm sitting down. I am enjoying it. I love the character so much. Despite how weak the plot is, I'm kind of just like, I'm here for it because I love these guys. I did check in this morning. I said I was going to give an update. I'm actually very close. I'm in the home stretch of Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare, and I'm sure I'll have more coherent thoughts once I've finished the book. I love the group of characters that this story is about. In this book, actually in particular, there are some characters that are becoming really super standout favorites, including one that I never would have seen coming. And I think that's a lot of what's driving my enjoyment of this book. That and my pretty low expectations, actually non-existent expectations going into it. It's a chunker of a book though, and I think the downfall that it has is that it's a little too long. And I do think that the plot is flowing in a very repetitive way where it's like very placid and still and like, nice and steady, and then all of a sudden, loop, bad things are happening, and then goes back to a little bit placid and still. I was hoping I would love it more despite the fact that I have seen very mixed reactions to it, but it is what it is, right? The other book that I started today is The Dawn of Yang Chen, which is by FCE. It's part of the Chronicles of the Avatar, sort of a duology that he's written in the universe of Avatar: The Last Airbender about another Avatar. I started listening to this one in audiobook, and so far I'm entertained. I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it as much as I enjoyed the Kyoshi book, the first one, but it is interesting to sort of read about a different Avatar, one that has her own methods of tackling things, I guess, and who has to deal with a different kind of conflict. I like being back in the Avatar world. I like seeing another side of it, or another part, or another era is what I should say. That part to me has, you know, really piqued my interest, and I think the plot itself is enough to keep me reading. I don't know that I'm going to feel very strongly about it one way or the other. I think it's just going to be one of those things where, like, my love for the universe itself is what is carrying me through this story. But I do think it will be a solid addition. Maybe we'll find out. I think I might be able to finish it by tomorrow. We will see. It's September 14th. Work for the last 2 days has been pretty stressful for me. I'm not only covering for someone who's out of the office, but I'm also handling some really tedious, time-consuming tasks. And yesterday in particular was really bad. Today was a little bit better. Hopefully tomorrow will be better, and then it'll be over, and I will not have to think about it. And then I get to go on vacation. But that's a story for another day. Anyway, Chain of Thorns. I finished it really fast, considering how massive it is, which is not super surprising given that I usually read the Shadowhunter books fast. I don't know, in my mind I was like, oof, that's close to 800 pages. I don't know how long it's gonna take me, especially because I've been seeing such mixed reviews from so many people. It was just a fun time for me. Like, I had a good time. There were a lot of moments that made me laugh, and I did get pretty emotional over a couple of things. I may get into spoilers shortly just because I need to talk about those things, but yeah, it was a good time for me. Like, it's not the best Shadowhunter series finale, which was kind of what I was hoping it was going to be because I love the first 2 books in the series so much. Unfortunately, City of Heavenly Fire remains untouched, uncontested as the best Shadowhunter series ender for me until now. So my problem with Chain of Thorns, and I explained this to Maki and to Kristen, my problem with it is that it recycles a lot of plot tropes we have seen in other Shadowhunter books. That's one. And normally that wouldn't bother me, but for some reason in this one, I think that combined with the way that it's paced, just, it was not working for me completely well. Anyway, I'm gonna go into spoilers a teeny bit with this book. The real saving grace, like I said, were the characters. I loved being with this group of characters, and it was so surprising to me. Let's talk about the good stuff first. So it was really, really surprising to me that I ended up loving Alistair so much in this book. I don't know what happened, but like, he is legitimately one of the best characters in this book. And so is Grace, surprisingly. Although I shouldn't be so surprised because she kind of hit her turning point in the last book, and it kind of comes out here. Like, I also haven't completely maybe gotten over what she's done, but I understand. I love Christopher Lightwood. I think I can officially say he's probably my favorite of the Merry Thieves, and that in particular is made even stronger in this book. Like, I just love him so much. It's a travesty that he's the one we lose in this book. I did not see that coming, to be honest, until it actually was happening, and it made me so sad. Like, of all the people to lose, it had to be Kit. Really? But anyway, jumping forward, a thing that happened that I did not expect was that Matthew Fairchild actually lives through this series. So Mackie and I have had this running theory since book 1 that Matthew is the one who is going to die, and he wasn't, which is kind of a plot twist. And I'm actually happy that he didn't. I also just liked the way that his story kind of wraps itself up. But yeah, it was fun being with the Shadowhunter kids. It was, and I just had a good time. I also listened to the entirety of The Dawn of Yang Chen, and I liked being back in the Avatar world. Much like the Shadowhunter world, it is a world that I am very familiar with, and to see it from a different perspective and to see a different part of, I guess, the timeline or the history was really interesting. I'm not necessarily the biggest Yang Chen fan. I don't think I personally felt very strongly towards her as an Avatar, and I also didn't feel too keen on the story because it's a lot of power plays and like subterfuge and all of that. But it was still good for what it was, and I found it very diverting to listen to while I was working on some tedious tasks. So there's that, and I definitely intend to continue on with the duology and to see how that wraps up. I also have started reading Stellar Loon, which is the latest installment in the Keeper of the Lost City series by Shannon Messenger. Mackie's also reading this one. Kristen has already read this one. And I have literally only read 4%, so I can't really say much about this. But it is funny being back in this world after being away from it for so long. It's interesting because I didn't reread anything, so I'd kind of forgotten where we'd left things. And Shannon Messenger is doing a pretty good job with reminding us of like certain big plot points that have occurred since. The other book that I am currently reading is The Authenticity Project by Claire Pooley, which I'm reading for my family book club. I'm not sure where it's going. It kind of reminds me a little bit of The Reading List, actually, and I'm hoping I will like it as much as I like that one, so we'll see. I'm about 80 pages into it at the moment. And the last book I need to talk about is the one I'm listening to. I have an advanced listening copy of Bookshops and Bone Dust, which is by Travis Baldree, and that is the prequel story to Legends and Lattes. And I'm liking that one so far. It is also a cozy fantasy, just in a different way, I guess, than Legends and Lattes is. We see Viv as a younger individual and sort of find out a little bit more about her history, about her personality, and what shaped her into who she is at the beginning of Legends and Lattes. And it's been fun to listen to so far, and I've liked meeting all of the people that she has gotten to know in the small town that she's convalescing in since she's injured. I don't think I knew what the plot of the story was, really, but I've been very entertained so far, and I probably will finish that one tomorrow, which is very exciting. It is Friday, September 15th, and I have been up for hours. The adrenaline from something that I have to do at work that has been very stressful for me over the last 2 or 3 days is still with me, so I woke up way before my alarm, and I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna get to work. I am nearing the end of this particular segment of work. I have other things to do as well, but once this part is done, I'll feel a little bit of relief, which is a nice feeling after being so like hopped up on all of this like adrenaline and stress. I don't know if anybody else gets like that, but when I'm like hyper focused on something and worried about it not being completed in time, it just stresses me out and affects everything, my mood and all of that stuff. Anyway, I didn't mean to start that off so morosely. Oh, also if you can hear something going in the back, that's the laundry because I do it on Fridays when I'm working from home, you know. Double whammy. Anyway, today I am hoping to read a good chunk of The Authenticity Project. I'm hoping that maybe I can finish it. I am about 82 pages in and it's about 356 pages, so that's not too long at all. I don't think I ever mentioned properly what this was about, or maybe I did, but just to simplify, there is a green notebook where a man named Julian Jessup has written something very authentic and true about himself. He shared a bit of his real story, and he leaves that notebook in a cafe, somebody else finds it, and it gets passed on and on. I don't know how many people it's going to go through, and if these people are all going to eventually intersect somewhere, but it's been interesting so far, and I like the concept. I'm not very in love yet with the writing or the characters, but it's an interesting thing, and I am looking forward to discussing it for book club. I will also try to finish listening to Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree, which has been giving me comfort in this time of stress. Like, it has been one of those things. I've at least had something to keep me grounded and sort of distracted in a good way when I'm at work so that I'm not overstressing. So yeah, wish me luck. I hope that this Friday ends well, this week ends well, and that the challenges that I'm facing are going to be surpassed. Unfortunately, that has been keeping me busy all morning. So it's only now at like 1:23 p.m. that I'm getting a break to eat some lunch and to read a book. So I'm taking my well-deserved break. Thank you very much. This is the face of a girl who is drained already. I'm so close to the end of my workday. So close. So close. And hopefully everything, so far it seems like everything's gonna be fine. Anyway, I just had lunch and I read more of this book. I'm still like in the neutral side on it. Like, I find it pretty interesting and compelling enough to keep going, but I don't feel any really strong attachment to the characters or even the relationships. I mean, I'll always find it interesting to read about like intersecting lives, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, this one's all right so far. Yeah, so I am keeping an eye on my work inbox right now, and hopefully nothing else happens before it's time for the weekend. September 29th, so the second to the last day of September, and between the laundry over there and the airplane that just passed, there's so much noise. But I figured I would come back and film a vlog clip because it's been a hot minute. I may or may not have inadvertently had a pause in all of this because I have another video coming that'll show you my trip to Prince Edward Island with my friend Rachel. It was so much fun, but yeah, that definitely threw a wrench in like me filming a vlog. So I decided I would just wait until the end of September to wrap up this one. It's the second half of the month anyway. I think by now you've seen like I got to go to the Rip Bodice in Brooklyn, which was really fun, and I've been doing a bunch of other things. I also got to see Merrily We Roll Along with Jonathan Groff, Lindsay Mendez, and Daniel Radcliffe, and it was phenomenal. I absolutely enjoyed it, and 10 out of 10 would go and watch it again, and I really, really hope I get the chance to. Anyway, to talk about what I'm reading, I did finish reading The Authenticity Project. It's currently with my sister right now, so I actually have no idea where the library book is. But anyway, it was good. It was all right. Actually, good is a bit of a stretch. I think it was all right. It was a promising premise, I want to say, and I like the fact that it felt very slice of life, but at the same time, it didn't do much for me because it was just slice of life, and it's not in the way that I generally prefer when it comes to these kinds of stories. Everything did culminate pretty nicely for the characters, though. Although the ending kind of caught me off guard. There's one character in particular where the ending, even though it makes sense, it also kind of was like, what? But yeah, so that's that. I also finished listening to Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and I really enjoyed this. This is tied for first of my favorites of hers with the Happy Ever After playlist. This one is just adorable. I don't know if I've even talked about it in a vlog, so just in case I haven't. It is about two doctors who work at the same hospital. They meet, they inadvertently have a not so cute meet. Like when they first meet, it's not great because the girl thinks that he's her rival and the guy kind of gives off the wrong impression, but they eventually and very early on figure out that was, you know, just like an off day for them both, and they sort of become closer. They develop a friendship which turns eventually into a romance, and it was lovely. The thing I love about Abby Jimenez's work is that all the characters always feel like they're very real people who I could meet or be friends with, and the things that they go through, well, sometimes they give me frustration. Like in this one, there's a buttload of like they just misinterpret or miscommunicate. It just totally made sense given the situations that they both have personally. I was really charmed by these characters. I loved them as individuals, but I also loved watching them fall in love. That was just so close to my heart. It was just delightful. The thing about romance is I feel like it's really subjective in what will work or not work for another person, and this one completely worked for me, despite the fact that it has one of the tropes that I'm not necessarily fond of, even though I know how realistic it is. It really worked for me, and Abby Jimenez just wove this story and this romance together in a way that really made me emotional and made me swoon, and it was wonderful, and I'm glad I finally got to read this. I also finished reading Stellar Loon by Shannon Messenger. This is the 9th book in the Keeper of the Lost City series. It is the second to the last book as far as I know right now. I enjoyed it. It was fun being back in this world. It had been so long since I had, been in the Keeper world and been with these characters, but it was nice to just sort of pick up and see where their adventure would take them next. I would say that this is not one of my favorite in the series, though it does have some stellar moments. I definitely found some parts really funny, especially a character named Ro, who happens to be one of my favorites. She was hilarious in this. I also got something that I feel like I've been waiting for so long. It happened in this book finally, and I'm here for it. And as usual, Shannon Messenger leaves us with a cliffhanger. And after reading said cliffhanger, I am so excited for book 10 because I honestly don't know where it's going to go anymore. I don't know. I really don't. But yeah, once again, solid installment in the Keeper of the Lost City series, and I'm glad I finally got around to reading it. I thought it would take me much longer than it did because it is massive, but surprisingly it flew by really quick. That's the other thing about Shannon Messenger's writing. I think it's just very readable, so I had a good time with this. And on my trip to Prince Edward Island, I had intended to read this on the flight, going and maybe going back and sneaking it in, but I actually ended up reading the entirety of it on my flight home, and that's Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, which comes out, I believe, next month. Yes, in October. I think it's October 3rd. I could be wrong. Starling House is about a place, an actual house called Starling House, which is in Eden, Kentucky, and it sort of brings together two characters, Opal and Arthur, who are tied because of a shared history and a shared, I guess, tie to this house. This is the kind of thing I want to read when it's fall and I want to find something atmospheric. I found it not particularly compelling. It's a bit grittier than I was expecting. It kind of has the same, for me anyway, the same vibe as Holly Black's Book of Night, but I liked the way that Alexi Harrow did it better because it's gritty, but it also has sort of a fairy tale aspect to it. And it was one of those things where the way she decided to tell the story was really compelling because I just wanted to find out what was really going on, what the truth was, and she juxtaposed it against Opal's, you know, position and her understanding of her situation and what she's trying to do, and Arthur's same situation, well, not same with Opal, what I mean is like Arthur's same things, like his situation and what he was trying to do, and it just ties together beautifully. I love the atmosphere of this one. The setting really got to me. I liked seeing how all the characters and the stories were interwoven together. The one thing that I wasn't like super in love with is like there's a romantic element to this that is not necessarily my favorite. This felt like a fairy tale. It felt like reading a Grimm's fairy tale but in a modern setting, and I really enjoyed that, so I'm glad I got around to reading this on the trip. Other than that, what am I currently reading? I am currently reading Strike the Zither. I should have picked up the copy, but anyway, I decided on a whim to pick up Strike the Zither by Joan He. I'm hoping to finish it by tomorrow so that I can wrap it up before the end of September, but that one is also very good. It's an Asian-inspired fantasy. It is set in a... It's not set in a real place, but it is a fictional place that is inspired by a lot of Chinese lore and culture. And okay, here's the thing about Strike the Zither. What I had remembered of it was that the main character is a strategist, and she works for a lordess, and she's trying to help this lordess win the war, or like win, you know, whatever the lordess is going for. And she encounters a strategist on the opposing side named Crow. That was what I remembered. It actually took a turn that I did not remember hearing about, which surprised me, and I still haven't sorted out how I feel about it. So I'll get back to you on that. But that is hopefully going to be my last read for the month of September.